Yeah. Hey, how's your whole family? Nice going, fellas. You did that great. What the fuck? Jesus, Jason. Learn to... I ad-libbed. I threw you. How's it going, folks? Great to be with you. That's right. It's a fake cigarette. Don't make it like... What am I sucking on? Staples? Gotta do it. Anyways, thank you for supporting Breath of Fresh Air. Little under 360,000 views and still climbing 20-to-1 ratio almost on positive to negative. And we know the negative people are just humorless left-wing douchebags, and so we take that with a grain of salt. But it's free speech comedy. I let it fly. There's no way you can go, I'm scaring the people that I'm not hearing from the Ben Shapiros and the next level of people, that we want as far as fans go. And a certain giant podcaster is like, no, I can't fit you in. Well, you said you'd open this place for me at any time, and but I understand but all you have to do at the interview, when you interview me, say, look, right at the beginning, do a disclaimer if you want to. I don't agree with everything that Nick says, and I'm not endorsing it. That being said, this is one funny motherfucker. It'd be very easy. So thank you guys so much, and the subs, YouTube subs are through the roof. Last year, I never paid attention to YouTube like a dope, okay? And I should have been 10 years ago. So as a result, when we started this podcast at my house last July, what do we have, Jason, about 7,000? Around 7,000 subs. We have, 44 today? 45,000. So we're coming after all the big whales. Buckle up. Tommy, my manager, was at the Comedy Cellar last night hanging out, and he texted me late last night and said when he left, everybody was envious, they said. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to you Patreon people. Everything's going great. We're coming to you live as usual. Just you people.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Oh, have a cigarette, Billy. Anyways.
You know you want crazy motherfucking walk, man.
Yes, I do. What is going on? U.S. orders partial evacuation of embassy in Baghdad. Uh-oh.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Oh, yeah. The State Department ordered a partial evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad on Wednesday, responding to what the Trump administration said was a threat linked to Iran, one that has led to an accelerated movement of American ships and bombers in the Persian Gulf. That's because you get John Bolton at the helm. There he is. This guy, he got us into Iraq and shit. This guy likes to fucking, if he was a hockey player, he'd be Brad Marchand. Just elbowing you in the face, cross-checking you in the neck for no reason whatsoever. He likes to mix it up. And, but fucking Iran. Come on, they're living in 11 AD, these jerk-offs. They dress like they're in the Old Testament. They're pushing gay people off the tops of buildings. Just evil, retarded, unevolved fucks that we should destroy. We've had a million excuses, okay? And I'm not saying. I'll go on with the article because I even that sounds like us trying to start some shit. I mean, the economy's as good as it can get. Usually, we start shit for the economy, or if somebody threatens a president's dad, and shit like that. It has nothing to do with mass weapons of mass destruction. The department ordered non-emergency U.S. government employees at both embassy in Baghdad and the consulate in Erbil to leave the country. The order applies primarily to full-time diplomats posted to Iraq by State Department headquarters in Washington. And I guess they feel they're in danger. They want them the hell out of there. So.
All right, get out. Get out.
Contractors who provide security, food, and other such services will remain in place for now. They must feel important, huh? What the fuck you telling people to get out because it's dangerous? You, the one that hands out the hummus and mashed potatoes, you stay put. You're expendable, okay? They're the equivalent of a Wendy's worker. Mike Pompeo said last week that the administration had received intelligence related to Iranian activity that put American facilities and service personnel at substantial risk. Again, I got to be honest with you. I'm even so cynical. I'm like, okay, is this real or Look, they've been pissed since we left the treaty, the Iran deal, the nuclear deal, that Trump got us out of, the worst deal ever, unless you like the idea of the United States putting $1 billion on a wooden pallet in cash and sending it over, literally. So these backward-ass sand creeps have been fuming since we pulled out. These bearded fucks, this theocracy. Other American officials have said the same. Piece of intelligence points to potential attacks by, Shiite Arab militias. These guys just need to take a good dump and relax, you know what I mean? So Iraqi officials have voiced skepticism about the threat described by the Americans. Well, okay. Let's play chicken. And on Tuesday, so did the British deputy commander of the American-led coalition fighting the Islamic State, or ISIS. The guy from the British deputy commander said, no, there's been no increased threat from the Iranian-backed forces in Iraq and Syria. Major General Chris Geika, speaking from Baghdad, told the reporters at the Pentagon Central Command released a statement saying that Geika's comments run counter to the identified credible threats available to intelligence from U.S. and allies. Why don't you let us American people know what the threats are? You don't have to give away secrets that we're going to invade. New York Times will do that. But just let us know what the threats are. I'd like to fucking know. I don't even trust my government sometimes, you know? Didn't we start a war 1898, the Spanish America, when somebody sunk the USS Maine? Do you remember that? And it was supposedly, the Spanish, but we still don't know who did that. It's the guy, So they say he's full of shit. As a result, the United States forces in Iraq were now at high-level alert. Mr. Pompeo made a surprise visit to Baghdad on May 7th to brief Iraqi leaders about the threat. On May 5th, John Bolton, pictured here, there he is, Mark Twain, the National Security Advisor, issued a statement warning against any attack by the Iranian military or a proxy against American interests or allies. Mr. Bolton said the U.S. was sending the USS Abraham Lincoln. That's when you know when we mean business. We're sending a ship named after our first gay president. According to all gay websites, Lincoln was a big fruit cup. Whatever. Hell of a president. Carry strike troop and bombers to the Persian Gulf. Other officials later said that the strike group's movement to that area had been previously scheduled anyways and was merely being sped up. Yeah, sure it was. On Friday, the Pentagon said it was sending another ship and a Patriot anti-missile battery to the Middle East. These guys are still shooting scuds at us, It's like we're using fucking shotguns. They're using slingshots. And I see these clips on the news of these, ISIS guys. They're in the back of a Zuzu pickup truck with a machine gun they made out of a kit and a piece of plywood. Don't get me wrong, they can be dangerous, but... in September, Pompeo ordered a full withdrawal from the American consulate in Basra in southern Iraq after a few rockets landed around the grounds of the city's airport. It's more dangerous than Newark or LaGuardia. That's what you got to do when you're in Iraq. You go out for a smoke at the airport and you catch a fucking missile into the back of the neck. That'll get you off the cigarettes. I don't have a head anymore. How am I going to smoke? Stick it in your ass. The Trump administration blamed Shiite militias tied to Iran for the rocket attacks in Basra. Tensions with Iran have been rising since since May of 2018, when President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the 2015 nuclear deal. That really got under their pampers, these bitches. The United States then reinstated major sanctions last November, and those have weakened the Iranian economy, which they have a huge economy over there. They're the leading exporter of hummus and fucking lamb's feet. A real threat. So anyways, we turned up the sanctions on them, and they're not, which is a good move. They're not going to get what they want.
What? No soup for you.
Critics of the Trump administration, that would be Rachel Maddow with a giant Adam's apple, and anybody else on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and of Mr. Bolton in particular, have suggested that American officials are presenting faulty intelligence, which, again, I'll let you guys decide, to make a case for war against Iran. as the administration of President George W. Bush did in 2002 to justify the invasion of Iraq. Mr. Bolton was Undersecretary of State of Arms Control and International Security back then. And he asserted that Saddam Hussein, the longtime ruler of Iraq, was trying to develop weapons of mass destruction. And we know that that wasn't the case, so I can see why people are skeptical, including myself.
You want to go to war? Come on. Do you want to go to war? We'll take you to war, okay?
Take it easy, Bolton. There he is, John Bolton, giving the signal for a suicide squeeze in the Iranian Peninsula. Why would we want to do this right now? Trump is an anti-war president. I know he was incoming. Triage! All right, kill it. Could you hear that? Helicopters and whatnot, airplanes. Nobody's going to mess with my studio. I have fucking F-16s flying over, Black Hawk helicopters, and I'm in downtown Atlanta. So anyways, I don't know who to believe. I'll leave it up to you, government. But why would you do this? We have a killer economy right now. Usually you get into a war and the economy goes skyrocketing. Trump, like I said, when he was running, that was one of his things. He said, we're not going to get in unnecessary wars. Let's get the hell out of Afghanistan. We're wasting money. And he was right about all that stuff. They keep playing a clip of him on Stern when he said he was for the Iraq war, which is 30 years ago. So he hardly has the stomach for this shit. And but if these threats are true, Iran, watch the fuck out. This isn't Obama in office. This isn't a guy who wore his mother-in-law's jeans, rode his daughter's bike with a helmet, golfing in Martha's Vineyard. This is Trump. This guy does not give a shit. He got elected because he picked on a crippled reporter from the New York Times. Not exactly touchy-feely. My type of fella. That's when I decided I was going to vote for him when he was in. So you guys over there at Iran, you know, if you're not too busy knocking brick walls on the tops of gay people and beating women because they showed 18 inches of wrist. Well, that's a big wrist. Oh. Go ahead. Fuck with Trump. I dare you. And Bolton. It's like having Dave Schultz and Terry O'Reilly on the same line in hockey. Do not fuck with these guys, okay? I'm just going to touch on this next story. Alabama passes a nation's strictest abortion ban because I've already given my opinion on the show many times about abortion. I say I'm reluctantly, I don't want to say pro-choice because it's not about, it's about women not having men tell them what to do with their fucking bodies. Wah, 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 wah. But anyways, I just have to touch on this because it was trending at one point. You know, babies and an abortion and Dr. Henry Gosnell has a magic bullet in his office. House Bill 314 passed the Senate in Alabama by a 25-6 vote, and it does not include exceptions for rape and incest. That's the only opinion I have on this. I disagree with that 1,000%. You're a woman and you're raped. That should be your call. You really want that reminder for the rest of your life every time you look at your son of that great night you had when this fucking Jerkoff pulled you, into a hotel room or behind a dumpster at Denny's, whatever. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm with him on that one. Or incest. Your Uncle Tommy had too many beers at a cookout and caught you getting out of the shower. You really think that's so stop with it. See, I'm going to lose a few conservatives. Well, I'm not a real conservative. I'm labeled a conservative by people who don't like my politics, and I'm in show business, which is, again, you lean right on 2 issues out of 100, you're a fucking right-wing Nazi, so take it with a grain of kosher salt. The bill's proponents argue its strict nature is intended to establish a baby in the womb as a person. They said, we aim for language that addresses the language of Roe versus Wade. The bill's sponsor, Rep. Terry Collins. I can't believe he's into abortion, this guy. He couldn't even handle the Mets. And now he's going to take on Alyssa Milano. Good luck, Terry. at a public event last week. The decision was based on someone in, there's the real Terry Collins. There's that Carrot Top now. He's really, the decision was based on someone in utero, someone pregnant, so we don't get into conception. We don't get into birth control. We don't get into the morning after pill. But in utero, which is the language they use that when a woman is pregnant, this bill criminalizes abortion through the doctor and not the women, but the doctor. Excuse me. So the reasoning is the same reasoning Roe versus Wade was decided that the baby in the womb was not a person, she continued. So this bill, they're going right at it head on. The whole goal here, they want to start an argument. They want this to go to the Supreme Court, whether they win or lose. And then now it's an issue. People will be talking about it. This is how you make inroads. Again, I'm confused on the issue. I don't know, have a vagina or a womb. Well, I got one in my freezer, but listen. So this bill bases its reasoning that the baby in the womb is a person, and we based it on the fact that in Alabama law, we currently consider the baby in the womb a person. And I think it should be decided state by state, shouldn't? You know what I mean? If all 50 have different, and if you're a woman in one state says, no, you can't abort, you go to Vermont, Bernie will kick you in the stomach and push you down the stairs. You look like, trisomester, you want to get rid of it? Look over there. Where? Anyways, Alabama law, we currently consider the baby in the womb a person. If you were a drunk driver and you killed a pregnant woman, you have a double homicide on your hands. So that's true in a lot of states. We voted as a state to be a pro-life state. If such exception were added, it would undermine the argument, Collins explained. Don't hit the left with logic and reasoning like that. But the debate over the bill received national attention during the State House's deliberation after State Rep John Rogers, Democrat Birmingham, made some impolite remarks regarding the issue of abortion. He said, and I quote, "Some kids are unwanted, so you kill them now or you kill them later," Rogers said. "You bring them in the world unwanted, unloved, you send them to the electric chair. So you kill them now or you kill them later." Wow, Captain Sensitive. But in all full disclosure, in all honesty, I say that in my act. I see homeless people when I was living in New York City laying in their own piss in 11-degree weather. They were better off not being born, dare I say. That's why I whack them on the feet with a coat hanger to remind them, to wake them up and go, listen. So anyways, that's where I stand. I've made it clear. My new, by the way, I'm working on my new hour already, and the first 8 minutes I have abortion jokes. And again, to do them down south is very tough. It doesn't matter if you're on their side with the issue or not. They're like, you shouldn't be joking. A lot different than up north. You get a standing ovation from a bunch of, lesbians at the Comedy Cellar. Because they go, "You're not a right-winger." Yeah, whatever. Whatever. I'm going to get somebody to Skype in tomorrow. Maybe Colin Quinn or got to get one of my comics, but I feel like fucking around. Do we have a show tomorrow? What's today? I'm so confused.
Today is Wednesday.
Today, thank you, Jason. Who decided this design? This?
A couple of MIT guys.
Is that what it was? If we could make it look like a fucking, what do you call this stick?
A USB stick.
Thank you, brother.
As long as it doesn't look like a cock.
And who would know better than Jason, huh? That does look like a cock. It could. It does. You know who's. Who was the little black guy that died? He had a hit sitcom. What's his name? Coleman. What is it? Yeah, speaking to the mic,
Gary
shithead.
Coleman.
Jesus Christ. Can you get a mic for yourself so you don't have to fucking dive 11 feet over the table and say anything?
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do that, Jason? I've gave you about 8 things today, and I have written down. And I know you're excited. You get your own apartment, and you're all over the town getting drunk, trying to finger pop these people from Atlanta. And Deion Sanders' daughter, Aisha? What are you, nuts? You're going to catch a bullet in the goddamn head. Da-da-da-da-dee-da-ding. Here we go. This, hits home, and this is why you should get Breath of Fresh Air or watch it. The headline here is, "Will Political Correctness Kill Classic Movies?" It was written by Christian Toto, he's interviewed many times. I think he used to work for Breitbart, actually. But it's a great article because the rise of political correctness can be seen across movie screens this weekend. The Hustle, a gender swap remake of 1988's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, rails against the patriarchy between... Excuse me. I got a cold from the air conditioner. It's 11 degrees in my bedroom last night. Found my dog dead. It was about that time. It's almost 4 years old. Rails against a patriarchy between sight gags. Avengers Endgame shoehorns a minor gag character into the story as a super virtue signaling. Long Shot shows Seth Rogen apologizing for the United States bombing Japan to help World War II. That's how that movie opens up. We're rewriting history, tearing down fucking statue. That is the most ignorant thing, especially when you're tearing down statue. Oh, this guy was a racist or whatever the fuck. Leave it up there so you can. How are you going to be able to brainwash another generation if we don't have evidence that there was, you can tell your stupid little college kids how racist this country was, but you can't do it if you're tearing down statues of Jefferson and everybody else. Now they're going to rewrite movies and shit. I've had enough. That's why I want to see you guys make a snuff film politically correct. Very easy. Replace the woman at the end with a guy. Gerald Nadler. Let's see his 800-pound wrinkle ass being fucking punctured like a pincushion. Delicious. People are going to go, we can hear you sucking on your cigarette. I don't. Minty fresh. Even older films and the stars who made them great are now seen through the PC prism. This is the mistake that Jerkoff left uses. They take today's societal standards and try to apply them to 1856 and, 12. Why don't you move to fucking Iran where this it still is 1856? And you wouldn't have to go through all this work. Unfucking believable. Ask the estate of John Wayne. The legendary star got pummeled a few months ago, decades after his passing for a racially insensitive Playboy interview in 1971. Some of the critics demanded that his name be stripped from John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California. It's a beautiful statue. I mean, look at that. He's looking down at a dead Indian. Let me tell you something, you Cherokee cocksucker. Singer Kate Smith. This is the one that really fried my apples. Singer Kate Smith's film career is dwarfed by her radio, TV, and stage accomplishments. Yet Smith's recording of two 1930 songs deemed racist convinced two professional sports teams, of course, New York, the People's Republic of New York. And you know what? And the people don't even agree with it. They're giving the Mets and the Yankees shit because they won't play Kate Smith's, her God Bless America. And the Philadelphia Flyers, that song always sent the chill up my ass. It made me angry. I mean, I like what it stands for, but I was a Bruins fan in the 70s. They played it when the Bruins lost the cup to the Flyers. Played it. I can't remember. She was alive and on. They dug her up. It was a hologram. But they would play God Bless America before the Flyers game, which was so funny. God Bless America. It's all scratchy and shit. It sounds like a big fucking... And they play that song, God, America, and then Dave Schultz would come out and knock somebody unconscious 3 seconds and step on somebody's neck. And it really didn't go with the team. But it's easy to imagine the culture attempting to do something similar to films that don't mirror today's culture mores. Molly Ringwald, who brought some of John Hughes' best films to life, turned on her collaborator last year, saying that his films weren't woke enough in our Me Too. Is there anything dumber than a fucking Hollywood actress? That's why you're an actress. You have no thoughts of your own, no words of your own, and you can read a script. You have to read other people's thoughts. And that's why I act too, a little bit here and there. But when I get the chance. But yeah, she's fucking ratting out a guy who made her famous and rich. And if you stay in Hollywood long enough, you become that stupid. You know what I mean?
You need to shut the fuck up.
Those films primarily hit theaters in the 1980s. So what about older films? Would any modern studio greenlight 1974's Blazing Saddles, the Mel Brooks farce teeming with racial and sexual humor? I know black people, Keith Robinson, my two black friends, I'm just saying in the comedy world, I have plenty of them. They loved Blazing Saddles. But would he make it today with guys like Judd Apatow being a big shot in Hollywood? You big girl, you. 40-year-old virgin. You're a fucking 60-year-old virgin. Excuse me. Oh, he's a horrible human being. Blazing Saddles was so goddamn funny. They would never do this today. Let's show some clips. It was racial insensitivity, and but here's my point. When we watch these things, well, let's watch some of the clips.
Good morning, ma'am. And isn't it a lovely morning?
Up yours, nigger.
Don't get all quiet, fags. Jesus Christ, you're like a comedy club audience. Leave me hanging to dry. You were laughing at it when we showed it before the show. You're cackling. Fucking. My point being is what they're doing there, even the original intent when they did it back then, was to show white racism. You think everybody in the movie theater was a fan of that old lady that said that? You know what I mean? How PC do you want to get? Again, you're going to wipe away all evidence. It was done in fun because that was the friggin' attitude. Let's show some more of this to make people uncomfortable. You guys.
Hey, the sheriff is a nick.
What are you saying? The sheriff is near.
No, God blame it, dang blame it. The sheriff is a nick.
Again, pointing to these, that's how it was back then. This is how the country had a history of racism. And you're going to go back and we're going to wipe these movies clean. And it's happening. So don't think it couldn't happen. Here's another clip. Blazing Saddles. They could use this. Bunch of people at ASPCA, you can tell me they weren't shitting their pants? Or they'd cut that scene out. I think that was the scene that originally, when you see at the end of the movie, no horses were harmed in the making of this. I think that was the scene that started that shit. And that's Alex Karras, former football player with the Detroit Lions, and then he went on to Mr. Belvedere or some other. He had his own show, Mr. Poo-Poo, I don't know. But anyways, that's him punching the fucking horse. And by the way, he killed the horse with that punch. But animal rights activists go crazy. This is the humorless world that the left has brought us, and I can't. James Bond. What about the James Bond movies, early adventures in which 007 treated female characters in a sexist fashion? Even a comedy classic such as 1959 Some Like It Hot, featuring two men dressed in drag, could be insensitive given modern mores. But why? Why would that's groundbreaking? It's two guys in drag. Why would that offend you? You'd be like, look, they were ahead of the curve. Please lighten up. Please. Fucking humorless. They're going to ruin all these things. 2 years ago, a Memphis theater nixed a screening of the 1939 classic Gone with the Wind because of its insensitive content. Disney's Oscar-winning Song of the South won't be seen on the company's forthcoming streaming platform. The 1946 film's antiquated and some say racist portrayal of black life turned the movie into cultural poison. Yeah, today's culture. It's never made it to home video, and that's unlikely to change in the future. And it's funny, it's ironic Disney is pulling this shit. Because it's actually not ironic, because they are the biggest exporter of political correct. Everything they do. Ever look at your kids' cartoons? They would never do Popeye chasing, and Bluto trying to get into fucking Elizabeth Warren's pants. What was her name? Olive Oil? They would never do that today. But it's so, I look at my nieces and nephews when they're little, I look at these cartoons and you got a little white girl, a little black girl, a girl with a prosthetic leg from India, a fucking Indian with a full headdress, an Eskimo. I mean, that's what it looks like in everybody's house. Give me a friggin' break, will you? Bounce TV yanked reruns of The Cosby Show following star Bill Cosby's conviction.
Me. This is rape. This is rape.
That's right, America's dad. Doing what he does best. Then we got my buddy Louie, who admitted to pleasuring himself in front of a series of women and his old roommate, Nick DiPaolo. What? He lost more than his FX series, Louie. HBO announced that it expunged all CK-related programming because that's run by, I work there. There's not a straight woman working for HBO. I don't know. I only got in there because of Chris Rock and Louis. But you got to know who runs this shit. When I point out how politically correct and horrible the world is, and some of my friends, you don't notice in the commercials or anything, and they go, no, I said, because you don't know who's making it and what their agenda is. Once somebody makes you aware that you can't get away from it, then it ruins TV and movies for everybody, which is what I like to do. HBO also took all Louis' stand-up specials away and his series Lucky Louie, and don't I know it? Those are all residuals I don't get anymore. I was on all those shows. When I read that news, I called him. I go, keep it in your pants, will you? I need a new car. His 2017 film, I Love You, Daddy, never hit the theaters as intended following his revelation. More than a year later, the film can't be found on home video or streaming outlets, despite rave reviews from its festival run. The film star, Chloe Grace Moritz, even argued against the film's release. Well, aren't you an ungrateful little twat? I think it should just kind of go away. Honestly, the millennial actress told the press, and Nick DiPaolo said, I think you should go away. One highly controversial film in its collective shunning predates the current PC mania, and the 1950 drama Birth of a Nation glorified the KKK and dehumanized black slaves, among other revolting elements. Cultural critics marveled at some of its artistic achievement. What artistic achievement? I mean, a noose. Given the technical constraints of the era, but its content makes any public display cultural dynamite. And again, if you watch it, it's just, again, it's evidence of how horrible and the origins of racism in this country. I would think for you people trying to expunge that for the future, you'd need something to fucking point to. But no. We're going to tear it down, pretend it never happened. I don't like people who pretend shit never happened. That's the key word missing, he says, from PC-themed conversations, context. Without a PC scolds too often to win the day. And they never do put it in context. But we're going to have to go back and change titles of all these great... now it's To Feed a Mockingbird and Kentucky... excuse me. Kentucky Baked movie. One Flew Over the Mental Health Facility. Goodfellas is now Good Persons. A Few Good Cisgender Men. They're doing an all-black version remake of Tootsie Roll. I didn't like that one. I thought that was a little. But can you let it go? Can you just quit trying to apply today's societal standards to? We all wore bell-bottoms in the 70s, and if you're going to expunge anything in history, throw out my prom pictures where I'm wearing bell-bottoms and I have shoes on that look like I stole out of Gene Simmons' closet. Expunge that shit. But the point is, are you comparing slavery and bell-bottoms? Well, yeah, it was sort of the thing to do in the day. A little insensitive, I know. Slavery was much more, but bell-bottoms really, it hurt my feelings. That my girlfriend said, you look great tonight. If I could go back in time, I'd strangle her. Humorless people. Oh, from my home state of Massachusetts. ICE agents using drunken driving records bust 141 illegal immigrants, all in a Toyota Corolla. What? How the fuck? What the... ICE agents using fingerprints from drunken driving arrests have swept up 141 illegal immigrants in New England the past few weeks, including a Kenyan national living in Lowell with pending rape, robbery, and strangulation charge. If you know anything about Lowell, Massachusetts, I'm sorry, that is no surprise. And it's not just Kenyans. That town scared me in the 70s. It was the textile capital of the world at one point. And right when I was in high school, it started turning sour. And remember Mickey Ward, the boxer? He's up from that area. That's where he used to get his crack and shit. They did a whole HBO special on him and Lowell. And trust me, those criminals, illegals, U.S. it cuts across all colors up there. But, just rape and robbery and strangulation charges. Others netted, you know what, we should get these people drunk all the time if you're going to bust them like that. You go up to Lowell, you set up a margarita stand or mojitos, and it's an opposite of a when the DUI trap. And then they, after they drank, then about 3 a.m, you put all the cop cars out there, pull them over. Am I right? Anybody with me on this? I think it's brilliant. I'm calling the president right now. Listen, you orange motherfucker. Listen to this. Others netted in Operation Secure Streets, that's what they call it, included a Honduran living in South Boston accused of selling cocaine, who isn't accused of selling coke in South Boston? And a Ukrainian caught in Cambridge with 2 previous drunken driving convictions, immigration officials said. All 141, out of the 141, 104 nabbed Massachusetts alone, now being deported. Jesus, don't let the politicians in Mass know about this. Seriously, they'll go fucking bonkers. A total of 1,191 illegal immigrants were caught nationwide in the OUI sweep, meaning Massachusetts accounts for 1 in 12 of the arrests. And if you counted the Irish people they pull over in Mass, oh my God, it'll be 13 out of 12. I got popped coming out of Faneuil Hall in the 80s. It's a true story. My buddy was a bartender. I'd get down there at noontime on a Saturday and leave at closing time, 1:30. That's about 17 drinks. I go to my girlfriend, Michelle, I'll race you home. She lived about 10 miles. Exact words. So I'm on Route 1 doing like 86 in a 43. I get pulled over. She pulls behind. Cop takes me. I am so fucked up. But this was, I had sneakers on that were about 12 years old. And they were all worn out. You know what I mean? I would lean this way. The guy had me get out of the car. Luckily, I was on the side of the road, but the road was tilted. But my shoes were tilted the other way, so I stood perfectly like I was in cement boots. And they didn't give me a breathalyzer, thank Christ. They would have shot me on the spot. This is how different it is. Back then, the guy goes to my girlfriend, Michelle goes, just follow him home. I must have had 17 drinks on me and an empty stomach. Just follow him home. I got better things to do. But, Jesus, Massachusetts is a hotspot. Lyons said ICE used fingerprints run through the FBI's crime database following drunken driving arrests all over the region. Immigration agents then went to last known addresses to track down the suspects. It was a similar approach under last year's Operation Law and Order when 50 illegal immigrants suspected of being drug dealers were caught in raids in East Boston. That's all Italians. It used to be. Dorchester, scary place. Lawrence is next to Lowell. Lawrence makes Lowell look like Vegas. Worcester, Rhode Island, which is the home of the mafia, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. Lyons said some of those arrested were given lesser charges. Listen to this. This is where the lib douchebag politicians, most of them female, by the way, in Boston, some of them got lesser charges, including reckless driving and not having a valid license before being allowed to walk out of district courts. We saw a large number of people with charges drop down. It's frustrating, Lyons told the Herald, saying he believes judges and prosecutors may be trying to help immigrants avoid deportation. It's happening New England-wide. Can you imagine where it all started? Where it all started, Boston, Mass., where we took on the British, said, go fuck yourself. Now we're helping cut the throat of our own country. You make me sick. Saying he believes judges and prosecutors may be trying to help. We know that. We know that. I'm going to bring up this judge, and I'll show you what she did in a few seconds. We know they're trying to help. Where the fuck's it? But no, for Christ's sake. Here you go. Here's the douchebag that should be kicked out of the country. Newton District Court Judge Shelley Richmond Joseph. There she is. Beautiful, ain't she? What did she do? Former court officer Wesley McGregor were charged in federal court in Boston with allowing an illegal immigrant to escape out a basement door in the courthouse last spring. I'll repeat that. I will repeat that. a district judge, a Newton district judge, Shelley M. Richmond Joseph. Newton doesn't get any more liberal than it's just, that's where Joe Rogan's from. He's not as liberal. He said he had hippie parents and shit, so, but he's, I'm surprised. Same with Louis. At least they have their own minds and aren't totally brainwashed. Others arrested in the ICE OUI sweep included a 43-year-old El Salvador native living in Malden, my hometown. I lived in Malden. Malden in the 80s, I lived there. You could get coke. Everybody was doing coke. I lived next to the Palace nightclub in Malden. It was the hottest club in the Boston area. I could walk to it. We'd do blow before we left the apartment. On the way there, find a broken mirror in the breakdown lane. Let's finish this shit before we get to the club. I'm out there dancing. Fucking doing splits and shit and just all sweaty. And that's how you get girls back to the apartment, You go, you want to dance? They go, no, we got blow. Okay. Others are, Baba escaped, so Malden, he had already been deported once and was accused of aiding a prisoner to escape along with other counts for forgery, aggravated assault on a police officer, according to ICE. Another being deported was a 33-year-old Guatemalan living in New Bedford. I used to do comedy in all these places, except for Dorchester. Wanted for resisting an officer in aggravated assault. And you got judges in court offices helping them sneak out the back fucking door. Isn't there a Rachel Rollins I was going to mention in this article? The black woman, she ran last year. She was on the city council. Yeah, her. She's another one. The first thing she was going to do is change all the laws to make it easier. She's wearing a wetsuit with a scarf. Isn't her name mentioned in here? Did I skip over it? Yeah, Rachel Rollins, Suffolk District Attorney, Rachel Rollins. She was running for governor or Senate seat. And Middlesex DA Marion Ryan, also a federal lawsuit to keep ICE officers out of state courts. Literally, the law is giving the law the finger. This is how societies crumble. This is third world banana republic horse shit. Fucking libs, you're mentally ill. So am I. I'm sucking on a piece of metal that I'll find out will give me cancer. In a couple of years I'll be watching late night TV. Did you guys use the Juul? E-cigarettes and now you fucking have 6 lumps on your neck? Don't scream, call Akeem, 977. That's an actual lawyer down here, and he's a great lawyer. Jamie, the guy that we know that runs this building, knows the guy. Jamie's a high-powered lawyer, and says, and this guy Akeem, that's what it says, don't scream. Really? I was just stabbed in the ass at the mall. You don't want me to scream? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Whistle? Sorry if that hurt your ears. Anyways, Massachusetts, get your shit together. I don't know if Boston is officially a sanctuary city. It's even worse than that. When you get the law going around the law to fill your neighborhoods with dangerous people. Just brilliant. You really need those black and brown votes that much, huh? You really do. Well, congratulations. I knew it changed when I did Comics Come Home, and I did a couple of Bernie, I said Jew a couple times, referring to Bernie Sanders, and had 6,500 people booing me. That's after I was killing for a few minutes, and then I sabotaged my own set. Never felt better. Never felt better. This is what I wanted to play.
You fucking people.
5 minutes ago.
You have no idea how to defend a nation.
Men don't think... Sorry, boy. The wife hears this show. She's going to, Jesus Christ, get those clams out of your throat. It's like an oyster basket. Men don't think about sex every 7 seconds. We're more likely to be thinking about football instead, says a new poll. Almost 65% of lads admitted to thinking about football more than sex in a new study, and I'm sure that's true. Some 64% of men think about football more than, with just 8% of lads admitting they think about romping all the time. That and choreography. It's a gay joke, everybody. Are you with me? Anybody? Hello? Are you with me? They tell you to think of baseball when when you're a young guy and you come too quickly. You know, it doesn't happen at my age. You're like, really? Fucking can't get a nut off. I've been looking at the same broad for 25 years. Like, I'm like a porn star. I can go for 3 hours. That's a fucking lie too. They tell you. When you're a young guy, they say, well, you know, if you think you're going to come while you're banging a girl, think about baseball, you know, and you won't come. But, you know, I tried that. You know, I think about the Red Sox. You're so good. I came in like 3 seconds. Christ, like the American. Oh, boy, are they back, by the way. They are smoking it. They are back to Chris Sale last night, 17 strikeouts and like 7, a career high. JD's hit 3 in the last 2 days. Devers, nobody can get him out. He's hitting 340. He hit one last night. So watch out, Yankees in Tampa, you phony pricks. Although the Yankees scare me. They're not even healthy yet. The results are part of a recent survey by Illicit Encounters to uncover the biggest sex myths for both men and women. It's often thought that blokes with large feet or hands will have a bigger manhood, but there is no scientific link between the two. Hey, I've been in enough fucking locker rooms to know there is a fucking scientific link. When I was up to University of Maine, I was between, we only had 2 black guys as a team. Of course, I was between their lockers. This guy, Davey, I'll call him Thompson. His dick was so big, he would wait till we were done showering so we wouldn't, like, make fun of him. Can you imagine having that problem? I'd come out of the shower, I'd throw my towel on it, on his dick. It would just... And we had a running back, 6'2", about 215. He was a street gang leader in Hartford. He still holds almost every New England record, and his dick was like my forearm. And there I am with a mushroom cap going, hey, I'm not taking my pants off till this place is empty. I'm doing, anyways, I'm a little better than that. Wouldn't say mushroom cap, maybe, I don't know, Slim Jim, something like that. What else? And 76% of men think the myth is rubbish. Another common misconception is that sex before sport will ruin your chances of playing well. Joe Namath broke that myth in 1969 when he was seen out at 4 a.m. getting all fucked up before the Super Bowl, and then went on to defeat the Colts, who are about a 51 favorite. So poo-poo on that. Blokes also say that was rubbish. I'm saying blokes, like, this is an Australian, you know. So as long as you're not up all night and getting a decent sleep, feel free to fuck the shit out of anybody you want. Almost 80% of women said the G-spot doesn't exist. I'm with them on that. I thought I found it in the garage behind an old fucking snowblower. In fact, the girls say only a fifth have actually located their own G-spot, so don't feel bad, fellas. Down there with a divining rod. It's in the back of your neck. How do I get my... And good news, women apparently also busted the myth that size really matters. I don't believe broads in this one. There's no way. Sex is about friction, okay? Sex is a dick in a hole. If it's about friction, the more the hole is filled, the better it's going to be. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying, because a woman really going to go in your poem? Yeah, I like a giant dick. I'm a pig. And 3/4 of women claim technique is more important in achieving sexual satisfaction than size. I have some tremendous techniques. I choke them out from behind. And then, meanwhile, men might mistakenly believe women don't masturbate when they're in a relationship. But think again, as 82% of ladies admitted to carrying on doing... I would hope so. I hope you're practicing when I'm not there. I would hope you're rehashing right after I leave the apartment. That's what guys do. As soon as you leave, we rehash in our heads what we just did. Only we replace you with, like, Jennifer Aniston in 11th grade. Another myth was busted in the survey was the chances of women experiencing multiple orgasms, during sex. Only 18% of women admitted to coming to a climax several times. It's all in your head, ladies. It's all in your head. When you say multiple times, I mean, I can make a girl come multiple times over like a 3-day period. I have multiple orgasms. I'm a guy. That's how talented I am. I don't need a rest period. I can come like 5 times in a row. And then my alarm goes up, and I get up to to work in the morning. Ta-da-ta-tee, ha-ha. On to terrorism joke. Here we go. Terrorism joke gets cops called on Egyptian-American comedian Ahmed Ahmed. We have a picture of a very fucking handsome guy there. He's got a glass of Christian blood he's drinking.
Right this very minute,
Jihad.
you are.
I'm having a bad day with the fucking buttons, I'll tell you. My God.
But you don't have opening? No. But why not?
Why are you playing an Indian guy? You're talking about an Egyptian. Yeah, close enough. An Egyptian-American comedian had the cops called on him after a stand-up set in Florida over the weekend when an audience member took his joke about terrorism seriously. Funny man Ahmed, 48, told the Post the ordeal started when he told a gag poking fun of stereotypes about his heritage at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples Saturday, asking the audience of mostly older white folks, we get it, dumb and racist, how many people here from the Middle East? When a few people clapped, he says he quipped, well, it only takes one of us. Then after a laugh break, continued to tell a joke. He then added, but seriously, lock the doors, which I kind of... I've said that on stage at the Cellar. I mean, at the Comedy Cellar, I'll see a table of, it looks like the 9/11 attackers. And I go, did anybody check this guy's fucking book bag? Sure, it's an easy shot, but, I got to do it because there's a table of Jews waiting me to say it. The next day, a comedy club goer called the county sheriff's department to report that a terrible joke had made him uncomfortable. Please, somebody throw gas on this guy. There was a comedian, this is the guy's called. There was a comedian, his name was Ahmed, and he's Middle Eastern, the man told a dispatcher. Imagine he called the cops because he was uncomfortable from hearing a fucking joke. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you are. The caller, who refused to give his name, said the comic had asked the audience if anybody hails from his region of the world. Listen how the guy's talking. His region of the world. You know what I mean. And a whole bunch of people raised their hands, he said. I'm from Iraq. I'm from Iran. And he said, we could organize our own little terrorist organization, the comedian said. And the customer said, I don't think that was right, the caller said. I just thought it was terrible. My wife and I looked at each other and felt very, very uncomfortable. This is what we're fucking dealing with, okay? This is what us comedians are dealing with. That happened a few minutes after. This is what we're dealing with, folks, okay? But that's not anymore. The guy called the cops and shit. That's not any more ridiculous than when I make a black joke or a gay joke and they write off an angry email to the club. It's no more ridiculous. So I'm glad now that, minority comics who are trying to traffic in ethnic funny, can you only imagine? You're Egyptian, for Christ's sake. Can you only imagine what a white comic goes through? Again, I'll state it again. Political correctness comes from the left. It was created to stifle white Christian males, basically. I've never heard of a black comic getting in trouble for making fun of white people, or a gay comic shitting on straight people, or an Egyptian making fun of whatever. So now you know what we're going through. Now the environment you guys created, they're coming after you. Libs eating libs. I'm defending the comedian here. I'm just, this fucking older white guy and his wife should be put out to pasture, so to speak. It's absolutely ridiculous. 2 officers were sent to the club to question Ahmed before his 7 o'clock Mother's Day show. The club manager came up to me with an embarrassed look on his face, said Ahmed, who now lives in Malaysia, a hotbed capital for comedy. Malaysia has the most Muslims in the world, I think. I thought, is this a joke? Instead, the officers politely asked him a couple of questions and left. He said the cops were really nice. They told me don't change your material. The sheriff's office confirmed there was a suspicious incident at the comedy club, but said no written report was taken, so it could not offer more details. The weirdest part, the comic added, is that the caller waited a full day to report the gag, which is true. But you didn't get punched in the face, did you? And this racist, you're in front of a bunch of old white people. Nobody punched you in the face for making the joke. Like I got sucker punched by a fucking bipolar douche in Birkenstocks. Talk to me then when your politics get you physically assaulted. But again, this shit does not come from the right. Here's another example. Right-wing comedian's prison sentence sparks free speech debate in Bolsonaro's Brazil. Danilo Gentili is one of Brazil's most popular, most offensive comedians. A typical Gentili joke might speculate about this man's sexual orientation or deride that woman's weight. Yeah. But a burst of tweets against a congresswoman at one point, he implied she was a prostitute, proved too vulgar for Brazil's legislators in 2017. They're just like the politicians over here. You know? When it comes to them, they have a whole different set of rules. Thin-skinned jerk-offs. That's why we call it political correctness. Do you understand? It's shit that politicians say to get elected, the politically correct stuff. Thus the term. So he went after a female politician, and it was too vulgar for the Brazil's legislature in 2017. This was in 2017. He was ordered to delete the offensive tweets. So in characteristic response, he tore the order into pieces and rubbed them on his genitals in a video that went viral. That looks like Mark Stein from Fox News. A younger picture. So this guy tore up the thing and rubbed it on his balls and shit. So he's a real highbrow comic, and I can see why you take him serious. My type of guy. So yeah, can you imagine now you got politicians coming in here and busting you for all. Listen to this. In the view of Brazilian judiciary, Gentili had gone too far, and this month the court ordered him jailed for 6 months. 6 months. The judge found that Gentili's action was intended to offend and never to be confused with a simple piece of spontaneous humor. It depends. It depends who you're talking about. You know what I mean? That is a clever joke to some retards. Rubbing some on your balls. That's... You can't be classifying it. Somebody, Dice fans would think that is fucking hilarious. You know? But you shouldn't have the government, I don't care what the country is, getting involved in stuff like this. He is appealing, and legal analysts say he's unlikely to see the inside of a cell, but the line between offensive and criminally offensive has become a central issue in Brazil today, as the nation's institutions, including its new president, test the boundaries of the freedom of expression. They have a president, that Bolsonaro over there. He's like Trump. He's like a Brazilian Trump. He pushes the limit. I'll tell you some of the shit he has said. Makes Trump look like a puss. Makes Trump look like Stephen Wright. I mean, I'm not calling Stephen Wright a puss. I'm just saying a very clean act. Brazilian law, which is largely modeled on the U.S. system, includes its constitution, echoes the First Amendment guarantee of freedom of expression, but a criminal provision that allows penalties for those who disrespect public officials opens a loophole for... Who do you fucking people think you are, you special officials? I don't know about how it is in Brazil. We hate the people that run our government. All these special rules. Don't poke fun of... And I hate that when people would make fun of Chelsea Clinton or even Obama's... Oh, the kids are off limit. Get the fuck out of there. They're in the public. Nick, you're a horrible human... No, I'm just saying. Because if you understand, it's a joke. And I really don't want to choke out, Melania. Whatever. I was trying to think of... Obama's daughter, Malaysia, whatever fucking. But listen to this. Gentili's defenders include both the Progressive Human Rights Watch and the right-wing president, Jair Bolsonaro. The president weighed in. He says, my position will always be favorable to freedom of expression. He's like Trump. He's like Trump. Maria Cecilia Almeida, a professor of philosophy, so I bet you she's a fucking hoot, at the University of Brasilia, argues that Bolsonaro and his administration, who have set the tone for the authoritarian track we are seeing in Brazil. Does this sound familiar? Have you heard any of this criticism about a certain president? So he's anti-PC, and the left-wing douchebags and the college women professors with no sense of humor, throw them into the authoritarian category. She says the debate is just a symptom of a greater problem in Brazil, the weakening of the rule of law. Shut the fuck up. I meant to say that.
Shut up! Shut!
In what Canoe called a disturbing incident, a Supreme Court justice last month ordered 2 right-wing online news sites to remove an article that mentioned him. He's a politician, and asked that the federal police investigate the news outlets. What a fucking asshole.
Or could I grab this microphone and I beat your brains out with it because that's what you deserve. That's what you deserve.
Bolsonaro, of course, has drawn international attention for his provocative and sometimes offensive commentary. He praises the military dictatorship that arrested and disappeared thousands of suspected guerrillas in the 70s. He has said he would rather a son be dead than gay. This is a president. He called Congresswoman Maria Doracio Nunez, Gentile's target, too ugly to rape. Oh, my God. This guy is... The gay thing, that's what Tracy Morgan said. If I had a gay son, I'd kill it, he said. And it damaged his career so bad he has a hit show on TBS now. Again, if a white guy said it, you would never fucking... Something 1/8 that hateful, you'd never hear from him again. I'm sick of pointing out the double standards. You guys have got to start figuring out for yourselves. Anyways, can you imagine that? Saying that over here with the gay mafia? They'd go fucking crazy.
You know, your son looks like a fag to me.
Hey, Mr. President. Anyways, Alain Mansour, the former director of Brazil's Association of Federal Prosecutors, said Bolsonaro overstepped his authority. According to our legislation, the president cannot intervene. Oh, he was trying to stop. President seemed to backtrack in his support for free expression when he ordered a television commercial for a government-controlled bank taken off the air for ostensibly disrespecting traditional family values. The commercial for Banco de Brazil show a variety of young Brazilians, including white men, black women, and transgender women. It's like every commercial over here. Using the institution's mobile services, Banco do Brazil pulled the commercial and fired its marketing director because the president did. Now, that's where you're an asshole, Mr. President. You know, because it's, he wasn't offended that they were making fun of a state-run bank. It was that there were gays and transgenders and shit. Oh, please let him come over here and watch 10 minutes of TV. Send them Will and Grace videos and just watch his fucking head explode. So they said the president overstepped his authority. According to our legislation, the president cannot intervene in the marketing of a public company like Banco de Brazil. The decision about what the marketing looks like should be decided by the technical and market criteria, not ideological criteria. Well, it's so funny. Over here, it's just the opposite. If you don't have a gay person and a transgender and an Eskimo with one leg in a Bud Light commercial, it's not going to see the light of fucking day. Bolsonaro has defended his order. He says the line is shifted, he told reporters. The masses want the family to be respected. Well, good luck with that attitude over here. Bolsonaro routinely challenges the boundaries of taste. He was broadly criticized in March for tweeting a pornographic video of a man urinating on another man at what appeared to be a hotel in Russia in 24... No. Appeared to be at Brazil's carnival. This guy does not like gay people, I'll tell you that much.
Fucking quit!
Take it easy, Mr. President. He says, I'm not comfortable showing this, he explained, but we have to expose the truth so that the population can have this knowledge and decide on its priorities. He eventually took the video down himself when he found out the men were pursuing legal action. It was like Carnival over there. It was 2 gay guys peeing. I think we showed it on our old show, and boy, did I get a nut off to that one. Anyways, that is it. You can't be a hypocrite, though, Mr. Bolsonaro. Either be all in or all out. I'm getting a little worried that I haven't heard a few of my so-called allies that I wanted to help promote the special. Some of them are running for cover. You find out who your friends are. It's a real litmus test. I'm talking about TV people, not in the internet world. I got Corolla chasing me, a few other people that want me to, and thank God, you know. So I'm talking about in the TV world. There's a few people I was disappointed. That's, Shannon Breen. No. That is it. Again, breath of fresh air. Go to nickdip.com. You can get all my tour dates. I'm not going to read them again. I'm fucking tired of it. Go to nickdip.com and get all my live tour dates. I've had too much coffee. That's why I can't focus. I'm all over the... Is there cocaine in this fake cigarette? Some type of crack? It's delicious. Anyways, that's it, folks. Remember, you guys think it. I will say you're very welcome. Thank you for the support on Patreon. And we'll see you subscribers tomorrow. And don't forget Cameo.com. Bye.